So I'm not sure how many of you know that I was actually considering FUT at first. I know, shocking, right? And probably you all know who David DiMuzio is at this stage, right? And if you're not, by any chance, I'm gonna put a link in the description down below for his channel. Go ahead, check him out. He had 3 FUTs and 1 body hair transplant done over the years, and his insight is really great. So if you are thinking whether to go for FUT or FUE, I think you're gonna find this video super helpful. And here's what I asked him. If you would have a chance to do it all over again, and knowing what you know again right now in this FUE world, would you go for FUE or would you stick with FUT? Like basically the exact same way that you did first time?
This is a great question and something that I've thought about a good amount. Would I pick FUE versus FUT if I was to start over right now? So first, I think we have to go back a little ways because I got my first hair transplant done around 8 years ago or so. And there have been a lot of advances in FUE over the last 8 years. I think when I got my hair transplant done 8 years ago or so, it was definitely the right decision for me to get FUT. Absolutely. People have just gotten better. There's been 8 more years more experience. There's a lot more experienced doctors to choose from that have been practicing FUE over the last 8 years. So FUT, at that time, there were more excellent surgeons to choose from in FUT that had lots of experience. And there's, as we'll talk about in just a second, some definite benefits to FUT. So at the time, definitely the right decision. Now, at this point, would I do it again? I feel like it's about a toss-up for me. I feel like I can't really choose hardcore one way or the other. If I had to, I probably would pick FUT again. Only, that said, because I've already been through the process, I already know sort of what the result, I already know the ending, if that makes sense. So, and I'll also explain why I think there are some definite benefits to me having chosen that. Because at this point, I have so many more choices. So, that said, you can definitely get a great result with FUE at this point. If you choose a world-class FUE surgeon and, you know, your donor area is like well taken care of, and you have all the growth that you should get and all these types of things, you could absolutely get a world-class result with FUE. So I don't think that it's a hard choice or like a definite choice one way or the other. So upsides to FUT and why I probably would still pick it given the ending that I know today if I had to do the two. And again, I just want to make very clear that I think you can get excellent results. That's very obvious with FUE or FUT, as long as you go to a world-class surgeon that's told you that, like, this is what we should do, and here are my results, and go through, watch Rolandas' channel. He'll explain all of that stuff. So, benefits to FUT. So, a strip is taken out of the best area of your donor hair. So when you do FUE, in order to get the number of grafts that you need, especially if you need a large, and again, we're talking about large cases. We're not talking about just small cases. If you just need a very small case, you just need like your hairline lowered by a centimeter or something like that, and that's it, and you're gonna be good, just get FUE, call it a day. Don't get FUT, okay? So then we get into after surgery, which is kind of the point that I'm at now. So because I've now had 3 FUT surgeries, right? 3 FUT surgeries. That sounds like a lot. And it is, but the really great upside is, like, I've kind of won the game, in a sense, because I still have FUE surgeries left. Those are still in my back pocket. So I could have a huge FUE surgery still. I still have enough donor area, right? Because I just have those 3 strips that were then kind of sewn back together. So versus FUE, you know, you don't get that linear scar like I've got. I've got a scar, right? But at the same time, once you start doing so many FUE surgeries, even people with great FUE results that have had a lot of hair loss and great surgeons, they start to get a little bit of that moth-eaten look. So when they shave down their hair, you know, one of my friends, Josh, he just recently went to get beard hair put in his FUE scars. And he had great surgeons that did it, but it's just he's had so many FUE surgeries that he's now trying to like fill that in to get a little less like moth-eaten kind of look. So you kind of end up, if you go like full on, you get lots of surgeries done as you might need, you know, over the course of your life, you're going to kind of end up in a little bit of the same place either way, which is with some kind of, you know, noticeable scarring. But I love having that like FUE in my back pocket, because like I'm not worried at all at this point about being bald.
If you would drop your like 1 or even 2 Norwood levels, by like for some reason, you still have pretty much bank to work with.
Yep.
Plus beard grafts, plus any other body hair if you would need.
Yes.
Plus there is an option of SMP. So I think in like your really good situation that I wish most of people could have been if they would, you know, do the right thing the first time.
Yes.
And yeah, indeed. But you know what's funny about FET versus FE? I've noticed there is one really amazing surgeon in Europe, out of Bulgaria, actually. I'm not sure if you heard about him, Dr. Zarev.
Yes.
He's incredible. Like he's doing FEE and DHI. That's not the same, by the way. So he is able to extract from certain individuals up to 14,000 grafts via FUE.
Yes.
So like if you would talk about it, even I guess 10 years ago, I would assume, I don't know, I wasn't here back then in this industry, but I would assume like people would look at you like and think that you're stupid. But nowadays it's like with the small punches, and if the donor management is excellent, it means that you're actually analyzing the donor, you know how many grafts in each centimeter square to extract in order to homogenize the whole look, and it will not look moth-eaten, and the overall density will slowly decrease. In these cases, in certain individuals, it's possible to extract really good amount of grafts. So yeah, I think, if, like you said, FE is evolving definitely, but it's still not like everyone's cup of tea, if it makes sense. Like it requires extremely high skill to do it. And if like what I've noticed normally when they going to a low quality clinic, taking 5,000-6,000 grafts, even 3,000 grafts I've seen, the donor destroyed.
Yes.
Just after 3,000. Imagine what could have happened if you would go to a good place. After 3,000, like myself, I had almost 4,000 grafts. My donor looks, I would say, excellent.
It comes down to picking the right surgeon. Absolutely. You know, yeah, focusing on FUE versus FUT and all this kind of stuff. It's kind of 6-1, half dozen to the other. So yeah, if you pick a good surgeon, then you're gonna you should be fine either way, as long as you're doing the right hair loss preventative treatments, and you find a surgeon. It's, you know, another thing that I think you don't talk about enough is also a surgeon that you feel cares about you. You know, and they don't have to. They don't have to know you. They don't have to know your brother's name and your mother's name and stuff. But you have to find a surgeon who's not only like good, but like cares about doing good surgery. And I heard one of the things that you said was when you were messaging different clinics, most of them were just like, yeah, like come do surgery with us. And then you had a few that you noticed were like really top clinics. I'm assuming were even charging more money, that actually told you, we're not going to do surgery on you. Like, unless you get on finasteride before your surgery for 6 months, we will not perform surgery on you. And that made you stop. Indeed. You know, and that's because it made you stop, because you're like, oh wow, they don't just want my money. And the thing is that a lot of surgeons don't just want your money. Many do, many clinics do, but many surgeons, they actually do care about their patients. And when you start going to the top clinics, you actually, what's weird is that you kind of find it's like the inverse. The clinics that charge you more money, which seems like the non-caring thing to do, right? Are often the ones that will tell you, not always, but often, that like we won't do surgery on you because we care about our individual results.
It comes down to cost. If you understand where the money goes, what the surgeon has to pay for, it all makes sense. And you're gonna even think about that, oh wait, they're not really making that much money. You know, and actually if you think about these clinics that are advertising on the football stadiums, they are making a fortune. Imagine how much does it cost to advertise on a big billboard on the football stadiums, you know? It costs a good chunk of money. So, you know, they're obviously making it. Anyways, appreciate David for your insight, and yeah, that was definitely interesting to hear, because I'm not, most of people, they just skip FUT altogether, and that's really great insight. I appreciate that.